Hey everyone, so today I'm going to teach all of you, I'm going to share information with each and every one of you who resonates with what I'm about to share about how you have all been specifically created and designed to live a mediocre life, to just live above the poverty line. And if you have achieved amazing results, you figured out how to escape the system, you're still finding that there's times in your life where those old patterns start to show up. You still see people, things, and circumstances that are trying to pull you back down to where you once were. But for you to continually stay in higher states of consciousness, which means achieving more and more things that you desire to have, I'm going to show you exactly why you were programmed to never have that. Many of you who are in business or personal development, you're in a part in your life where you're like, you know what, this life isn't working for me. I don't want to keep doing what I'm doing. I don't want to work at the same job I'm working at. You might be at a time or a season in your life where you're like, you know what, something needs to change. Either leave a relationship or maybe possibly get into a new one. You are looking for something different that is going to change your whole reality. And when you go to make those decisions and choices, you don't see answers. You don't automatically know exactly what to do. And this is the thing that stops most people from ever changing, is because the moment you decide, I'm not going to do this anymore, I want something new in my life, you start to go back to your 3D human and you ask the question, how will I do this? How am I going to be able to do this? Will I be able to succeed? Will I be okay? Will I be safe? If I leave this relationship, am I going to be okay on my own? There's little comments like that go on in your mind. And these are the exact inner speech that keeps most of humanity stuck in a life, stuck at a job, stuck in a reality, a relationship, and then the same income as well, the same level of success or non-success in their business. It's all equal. It's all the same. It's just energy. But it's your perception that shapes your reality. So there are many great business books, and there's a lot of well-known ones like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, You Were Born Rich, Bob Proctor, and then, of course, there was The Science of Getting Rich. So there's many things that we were told that have become accepted as our belief systems. We actually will guard them with our bodies, our minds, our souls, and we will say we know this is true because we were told it. Do you know that the trick that we have been taught to know that we know something is because we've read something, or we've had a test and the exam gave us a mark that gave us an A or a B, and it told you, you know this information. But do you know that, like everything else I teach, that is backwards? That you don't know anything at all unless you have the experience of that? That you read a book one time, you go and write an exam one time, you gather information throughout the school, which is the educational system is all set in limitation, and you think that you know something. But the application of the knowledge that you have is where you gain that awareness. So we think we know all kinds of things, and on an intellectual level, you do know something. But knowing is not enough. It's the application of what you know that changes you, your life, your reality, everything. And most people think that the intellectual part is where it's at, and they stop there. With the misinformation and the lack of knowledge that we all have, we have been told that science is different than religion. It's separate. That science is actually, like most of us know now, it's almost pseudoscience. Science has become weaponized. But science has always been given to us as a perception that it's separate from spirituality, it's separate from religion, and that it can't be connected. When that is one of the biggest lies. You couldn't be farther from the truth. Science, it has everything to do with what you manifest. Because you are matter, which means you are science. You're made up of atoms. Everyone watching me knows that. So if we just kept it at the basic level, the fundamental level of who each and every one of us are, we're made up of atoms, right? So that's science. And depending on the angular rotation and particle spin of the atoms in your body, they emit a different signal. And the signal is what attracts into your life what you have or what you don't have. But science has nothing to do with you or success or shaping your reality. And it absolutely does. So the Science of Getting Rich book I really loved because that was one of the books that brought in the fact that matter, this formless substance, people can call it spirit, people can call it the quantum field, the universe. There's different names for what this invisible, formless, intelligent substance is. And if you're watching me, I know that you understand this on an intellectual level, that there is a formless substance that permeates all things, including yourself. And that we guide this formless substance into form by how we think and how we feel. In another way, you could say it's our consciousness, it's your consciousness that gives this formless substance a goal. So it doesn't matter if you give this formless substance a goal to keep you poor, to keep you stuck, to keep you struggling, to keep you in fear, or you give it something that will bring abundance, joy, freedom, happiness, health, and all of that. It is neutral, like electricity. People call it God. And then they think they're being punished because they're praying and they're hoping and they're begging for something to change in their life. But the thing is, you don't understand the truth of our reality and the law of your being, because this information was not given to you. It was taken. So that you struggle through life and you think you're victims. That couldn't be farther from the truth. So a lot of you, I'm going to keep the science here for a moment, are fans of Dr. Joe Dispenza, possibly Dr. Bruce Lipton, right? Greg Braden. These are phenomenal people. These are doctors, scientists, neuroscientists that are bringing information to the masses if they are seeking it. Because it's not going to be handed to you in mainstream. Because mainstream is about massive control. It's about giving you the least amount of information that keeps your mind right where it is. So when you think about Joe Dispenza, you think about brainwave activity, alpha, beta, delta, so forth. Most people don't understand that that's science, and that has to do with you. And that your level of consciousness is equal to your brainwave activity. So understanding science means that your brainwave activity will keep you locked into a certain perception. I will even go further and say a certain reality. So the level of brainwave activity shapes your perception and allows you to perceive a world, a reality, equal to that brainwave activity. So this has everything to do with science and understanding you at a fundamental level. Now, I've also shared in many of my reels that the external world, our environment, and everything in it has been purposely curated to make sure that every human being lives in survival, right? They experience survival because it's already in their minds. It's part of the information that they've got since birth. So since birth, we have been inundated in experiences and information that encompasses fear, worry, scarcity, lack, competition, jealousy, fear of death, fear of climate change, fear of war. I mean, I've already shared so many of these things, but the point I'm trying to say is this is information, but it's also frequencies. And your brainwave is coherent with frequencies. Depending on that frequency is what you are going to bring and call into your life as your reality, right? So this is why having an understanding of science, who you are, right? As a multi-dimensional being, a cellular being who has cells that vibrate and oscillate on a certain angular rotation and particle spin, which emanate out a code, a frequency that you're literally using to bring in to your reality. Now, a lot of that seems crazy, but look at the world. The world is crazy. And when you have been ignorant to so much knowledge, truth is going to sound crazy. But this is for people like myself who get to a point, like a tipping point in your life, where you have always had the desire to be more in your life. There's a calling within your heart and your soul that you can't ignore, that is wanting to strive into a direction that most people are running from. You don't want to be familiar, you want to be unfamiliar. You don't want to be common, you want to be uncommon. There's something within you that is pulling you into a whole new destiny, a whole new reality that does not match your family, your friends, and what most people accept as theirs. And this is something that holds you back until you understand you are the one that can change everything on a dime. Nothing outside of you is required. It's understanding you at a fundamental level. And this is science. And when you get that, you set yourself free. So now to go into the survival, right? The fear-based model that all of us have been inundated with on purpose. So who you are has been literally shaped purposely. Your whole identity, what you believe about yourself, what you know, what you do, and what success you've had in your life, even as far back as the relationships you have and your health. All of this was given to you without your consent. You have been shaped into an identity stealthily. It's done through information. It's done through your environment. It's done through the controlled system. And you conformed to all of it because you have no understanding of who you are, because that has been removed from your knowledge. So each and every one of you who are living a life that they don't like, it's because you're not meant to live that life. You have been shaped, contoured through information to become an identity, to become a person, a personality you were never meant to be. You all have an authentic code within your DNA. Okay? This code is your divine blueprint. It is what your soul purpose is. Each and every one of you are a soul first, not a body. So your soul has a contract and your body is the vehicle it needs to fulfill this contract. And we have been stuck in our body. Our souls have been stuck in our body through manipulation of frequencies, which is what? Information. So understanding perception, understanding the brainwave technology that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. When you live in survival, fear, or scarcity, you are activating in high beta a certain brainwave frequency. And what I want you all to understand, because this is the truth, this is science. It's not just me telling you this. You can go read this in science, peer-reviewed science, where they talk about what's entrainment, control, brainwashing. And what that is where your brain resonates with a certain frequency, and that's all you can see. So for all of you who have read the personal development books that says everything that you desire is right here, what you're seeking is seeking you. What does that mean? Everything that you could possibly imagine right now that you would love to live, love to have, is available to you. The only reason why you can't see it is because the operating bandwidth of your brainwave is on a certain frequency, and it only will show you what's on that frequency. So experiences, people, things, information that vibrates on the frequency of where your brainwave activity is all that your perception of your 5 senses will be able to see. So if you really get what I'm saying, then you'll understand that there is infinite information available to you that will bring you what you want. But you're locked into a certain frequency based on the brainwave activity. And the perception is only going to show you what the brainwave activity is locking you into. So are opportunities all around you? Yes. Is there a way out from your dead-end job or your life that seems so redundant and mediocre and you know you want more? Is there an option for an out? Yes. But if you're relying on your 5 senses to show you how, this was the trick. And that's why we get frustrated and sad and burnt out. It's like the hamster on the wheel. You have to get off the wheel. And the way to do that is to disrupt what you're thinking. It's like being in a zombie state. It's like being in a hypnotized state. How do you disrupt that? You got to get them outside of the coherence because they're locked and loaded in it. You got to knock them out of that. And this is why near-death experiences do that. Because it knocks that human, literally, right, their soul right out of their body, but it takes them out of that coherent frequency they've been locked into all their life. They escape it. And then they have access to all the information, the infinite possibilities and potentials available to them. What their soul already knows and sees, they're able to see it. And this is why most people don't want to come back, or when they do, they're completely changed. Because why? Because they got to access information outside of that little limited bandwidth that survival, which is high beta, keeps every one of us in. 99% of humanity live in survival. They live in fear every day. This is done purposely so that you never escape that one perception of reality. But there's infinite realities available to you when you release yourself from that hold. Now let me go even further so you really get this on a deep cellular level. Why do you think censorship has been here forever? Because censorship is censoring this new information, anything that will take you out of that locked zombie mode of always in survival, it can take you out of it. Because the moment you get new information that might inspire you, that might get you to think differently, because they don't want you to think, they want you just to do. So new information that will show you who you are or even get you excited about a possible out. You can exit this prison system. You can actually have the life that you desire. That raises your frequency. When you raise your frequency, that takes you outside of that little bandwidth, that prison bandwidth of fear and scarcity. So this is why censorship has always been here. This is why we see it playing out in a very big way now. All our social media systems, all our news media is only curated with all the actors and giving you the algorithm that will give you one message. And that message is always in fear. That message will always keep you scared. It'll always keep you worried because that's what they want. They want you locked into this fearful bandwidth of high beta so you never, ever escape it. This is why your life looks the way it does if you can't change it. It's not about what you're doing in the physical world. It's the brainwave activity of how you think and how you feel that's locking you into that bandwidth. So working hard doesn't get you out of it. It actually keeps you in it. And the brainwashing runs so deep for so many years, like generations, that when the truth comes to people, like what I'm sharing with you now, most people reject it. because it does not match their fear-based bandwidth of activity, right? It's a new frequency dropping in, and it's causing a friction in their field. It's making them feel uncomfortable, right? They're like, how could I have been lied to all this time? I can't deal with that. There's no way that's true. I'm going to keep believing what's familiar to me, what I know, and I know it's true because I know it. I was told I know it because the report cards told me I knew it, or my mom and dad told me that I know it, or society told me. If you believe these things, you know it. And you have been programmed and you have been shaped from an external system that only gave you information that would keep you in the identity of a limited human. Someone who doesn't strive too far outside of it. Someone who doesn't dream too big. And if they do, automatically they'll realize it's impossible. I can never have what other people have. So you need to understand these are levels of frequency or consciousness that we all inherited without our consent. And these are the things that keep you trapped in the life or the income or the relationships that you have. But this is not set in stone when you access information that will get you out of that bandwidth. And that's what new information does. That's why it's up to you to open your minds to learning something new about you. Let's look at how this plays out in physical form. So can you look back at anything in your life where you see repeating patterns showing up over and over again? Whether you're getting out of a relationship and then you get back into the same one again, you're like, I don't want to be in this, but here I am again. Or you see the same income. It's only the same income numbers that you keep repeating in your business that can't seem to move the needle. Or your weight seems to be at a certain weight, and no matter what you do, it just never moves the scale. So these are the repeating patterns. And then if you even take it further, you can look back at your parents, your grandparents, and so forth, because most times it's generational. So what does this mean? This means that you are in entrainment with your environment. It's a resonance field. So the bandwidth of fear and worry, which every human being is being put into without even their awareness, is what locks you into a certain reality. This is what I want all of you to understand. The repeating patterns are just repeating because you're the same vibrational frequency. So it keeps like a wave, keeps doing the same outcome. So people look at that, and because they don't have this knowledge, they believe that their life is set in stone. They believe this is their destiny. They start to put themselves down and think, okay, this is all I'm worth. I can't seem to move the needle. It's not meant to be. When none of this is true, but when you take on that inner speech, when you accept those as your truths and beliefs, what happens? You just play more into that beta field of fear and lack and scarcity, sadness, jealousy, insecurity. It's done purposely to lock you in there forever. So this is the loop of doom, or this what people call a prison planet. It's not a prison planet or a prison reality. It's something that we have been coerced into through brain wave activity, which is frequencies. And when you understand that, you can escape it by shifting what you think and how you feel so that you change your bandwidth. And that's what I want you guys to understand. Now, the problem with this, not only is it because it's ignorance, we don't know what we don't know, and this information is so hard to come by that when you do get it, most people will reject it because it makes no sense to them. It's illogical. Why wouldn't you been taught in school this information? Why is the government or our educational system, which you have on a pedestal, why aren't they telling you this information? Because you have purposely been manipulated into believing a hierarchy system, believing everything that isn't your opinion or your intuition, it's everybody else's. So you are controlled from the outside in by everything in your environment. And everything in your environment you have got on different sets of pedestals. And they tell you something and you accept it without any resistance. This is why they made you this way. So you would have no resistance to the system. You wouldn't even fight it. And this was evident during the 2020 drama. So many people didn't resist. They just accepted and they went along with everything because it came from the hierarchy system where they have these systems on pedestals and it can't be something harmful. They're there to protect you. Why would they harm you? And this is a belief system only. This is information that locks you into that beta bandwidth. Survival. This is why you possibly, and 99% of humanity, until they understand this information, they live a life that's mediocre. That is not that extraordinary. It's ordinary because they are seeing a perception of reality that keeps them right there, and they have no idea where else to look to see something more beautiful, better, and more extraordinary. So the solution, at least the first step to seeing above this level, it's like being at the bottom of the pyramid and thinking that you have the best view in the world. You're at the bottom of the pyramid and your perception of the world is the bottom of the pyramid. Now, think about if you scaled up just 3 or 4 levels, you would be blown away at what you can now see above that bandwidth. And this is what happens, like I said, with people who have near-death experiences or people who have that dark night of the soul, which is what I experienced. The dark night of the soul, in my opinion, is very similar to probably a near-death experience, not in so much as a severe accident which jolts your soul out of your body, but you get to a place where you surrender. So you surrender, just like you do when you have a near-death experience. Your soul gets to expand and get out of that bandwidth, which has been its body's prison. And it gets to give you an idea. It gives you more information. It shows you a different landscape that you've never been able to see before because your perception is always anchored to the level of bandwidth your brainwave is operating on. This is what you need to understand. And information, the right information, takes you right out of it. Now, what my consensus was, and I'm starting to shift it now, was I started to think, okay, then that means that nobody, unless they have a near-death experience or they reach that dark night of the soul, is ever going to know this information and change their life because they can. Because most people are in something that's familiar. They're doing the same routine every day, but it's safe, it's familiar, and it makes them feel, like, okay, you can tolerate it, right? So what is going to make you move? Like if you can exist in that bandwidth, if you can exist in that timeline, then why would you change it? So you hear people talk about, well, you must have a big why. Well, I had many whys and it wasn't enough to change me. What changed me was when I finally got to a place where I surrendered because I didn't see any other options. I had exhausted all of the ways because where I was perceiving my reality from will not give me anything else to see or know or access except what I'm in resonance with. So I kept going in circles and circles and circles, and I finally just got so fatigued. I just so exhausted. You let go. And the moment you let go, you escape the prison and the whole landscape is all around you. And you're like, wow, what just happened? Now I'm trying to expand my conception and think, okay, if people got this knowledge then, and they are at a desperate state. Now, when I say desperate state, meaning that you're okay with where you're at, but you have a desire to want more. There's many humans here who do not want more. They are absolutely fine with the existence and the reality they have, and that is their business. But there are many of us who want more, and we don't want to get more because we're afraid we're going to offend our family who are totally okay with living the life that they're at. And this needs to shift. This is part of that bandwidth I'm talking to you about. There are so many beliefs, there are so much information and feelings that you have that are associating you with your external environment that will never allow you to expand your horizon unless you can see them. When you see them, you can decide then, I'm not going to allow these to keep me back from what I desire in my life. But these are uncomfortable. These are things that are going to call on you to step outside of the box where everyone you love and everyone you care about is living in. And this takes courage. But I want to share what this why means. It's never the why that we were taught in personal development or in business or in any kind of coaching or consulting, at least that I've been experienced with. And I worked with some top people. The why is not the reason why we move. When you're in a comfortable state, when what's required of you is to possibly lose your friends, possibly lose your relationships, to put yourself out there, to be vulnerable. And here's a big one, to show up in the world as the real authentic you and not the imposter one that you've been hiding your whole life. Most people can't do that, but they're able to do that with the near-death experiences and the dark night of the souls. So it's not the why, it's the desire within your heart to be more. There's something within you that's pushing you towards becoming something more than who you are, whether it's to make a big impact in the world, whether it's to grow and have more expansive experiences and adventures. There's something that's pulling you. Your soul is trying to wake you up and to go after what it is that you desire. And this is what makes you get uncomfortable, because you're no longer willing to tolerate the limitations and the lack of freedom that you have all been indoctrinated into. And I can give you proof. I can tell you that I can take someone right now who's watching me and I can say, listen, if you are willing to, for 1 year, to not scroll social media, to not eat shitty foods, to not binge watch and play video games all the time, but start to look in and work on who you are, become a better version of you, start to think differently, start to act from a different point of view. If I get you to go out and do something that's very uncomfortable, how long will you do that for? These are the things that get you out of that trance and they elevate you above it into a whole new landscape and framework for creating a new reality. But if you don't or are not willing to get uncomfortable, to change who you are, because you're afraid people won't like you, you're afraid people won't accept you, you might even be afraid that, hey, there's no way I know I'm going to even succeed at this, so at least where I am right now, it's okay. I'm still alive. I'm still surviving. So it's fine. Those aren't the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones that aren't willing to settle for that. They have no more time for this mediocre life. And they never have. They just didn't know how to get out of it. So to understand what I'm sharing with you today is to give you one option to understand. And that is this. You are not stuck because you're not capable. You are not stuck in the same lifestyle as your parents or your grandparents because it's inherited. You're not stuck anywhere at a certain level in your income because you'll never be able to go past it. It's not meant for you in the cards. Any roadblock, any challenge that each and every one of us have is just showing you the level of mind, the level of consciousness, bandwidth that your perception has been locked into. And you can rise above that perception by taking in new information, by becoming new, by becoming someone different with that information. So it's not even about you getting new information from this video I'm sharing with you. It's what you're going to do with that information that matters. Are you going to take this information and step out and become someone different today? Or are you just going to consume this information like you consume everything on social media and just say, hey, nothing changes for me? It's up to you. But there is an out. There is a way of you manifesting the absolute life that you love, and it's available to you when you're willing and able to allow it. Here's more ideas I want to give you just before I go, because this is something I really realize within myself and the people that are very successful that I associate with. They're all willing to step into this new identity, whether or not they're made fun of, whether or not they're criticized, whether or not they're judged, because it's not the why, it's the desire of the soul within them that is pushing them towards whatever it is they are desiring. Whether that is to create a business that impacts millions, whether that's to change their whole entire life and their children's life. Every single one of you has the soul mission. There's not one person that's watching me right now that wasn't created for a specific reason. And to believe that you're just here by accident to loiter on earth until you die is ridiculous. So there's only the few that right now are willing to disrupt everything in their life, disrupt everything that they've ever known, that they've ever believed, and even some of their connections that they have, in order to expand and transcend into that version of you that has the life that you desire. Because who you are now is capable of what you've got, and that's it. If you could have more, if you were able to have more, you would already have it. What's required is a massive upgrade in who you are. Not what you're doing, who you are. And most people aren't willing to work on themselves. They just want to keep working out there because you've been programmed to be workers. So if this is something that really resonates with you, this is something that you can resonate with in terms of, I know what Kimberly's saying. I have done all the things and I've gotten great results, but for some reason I keep repeating these same numbers, or I keep repeating these type of clients that are coming into my life. Or if you don't have a business and you have a job or you have relationships and you're looking at them and you're like, oh my God, like I already know I don't want them. But you got to learn now through understanding just one law, the law of attraction. Every time you say, I don't want this anymore, you're going to get more of what you don't want. So when I say that you literally have to forget and let go all of the information that you've been given from the system and allow the truth to come through you, because the information that you need to get you to where you want to go isn't outside of you. It's literally inside of you, waiting for you to acknowledge it. So what you're seeking is seeking you. What you desire is already here. Your frequency, the bandwidth in which your consciousness is placed on, is what determines what you perceive in your life and what you experience and what you won't. So I remember reading in Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. He says, opportunities were all around you, but you can't see it until you become a match to it. And I never really got that. Everything is all around you. And when you look at people, and I noticed this with myself, when I shifted my perception and my bandwidth, opportunities started overflowing into my life. People started coming in out of nowhere and buying my programs, coming into my DMs and asking. I wasn't chasing, they were chasing me. Why wasn't this happening years before? Because I didn't change my perception of reality. So you have so much potential and opportunities available to you when you learn how to shift that reality bandwidth. So this is why I created this new signature program by design. I've talked about this over the last couple of weeks. It is one of my most powerful programs because it shows you first how you were designed, how you were designed to be who you are right now and why you have what you have right now. But what's so beautiful about by design, it also shows you how to get out of that bandwidth. It shows you what's locked you in there for most of your life, and it's going to show you how you get out of it and create the reality that you desire. I don't believe in for one moment that we are stuck in the reality, in the job, in the life that we are in. We're stuck there because of our perception and information, lack of information. But when you understand how manifestation works, then you understand that you have always been the person behind everything you have in your life. So if this is something that you would love to be a part of, we started last week, but we're still accepting one more person. We have one more person, and then we have a waiting list available for any of you who want to join our next round in 2 months. So now it is 2222 to join by design. There are payment plans available, and all you have to do is DM me for the link or the payment plan options.